Rainbow Six was recently announced to be an esport. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Rainbow Six was for some people a surprise hit of 2016, and for others it was actually a big letdown. However, people kept playing it and people enjoyed it. Now it's an esport. That's how these things work. Now, before I get into this, I'd like to define the terms we're using, which in this case is just esports. Now, esports is a form of sports where the primary aspects of the sport are facilitated by video games. That is, according to Wikipedia. Now, that's not exactly what I expected, I gotta be honest. I was expecting something more along the lines of a contest based off a video game, closer to that, but nevertheless, that's what an esport is. So if you have not played Rainbow Six Siege or you're not familiar with Rainbow Six, I'll give you a quick rundown. It's a first-person shooter that is the spiritual successor to Rainbow Six Patriots, which has a high emphasis on destruction and tactical gameplay. That's what Rainbow Six is. Now, if you don't know what Rainbow Six Patriots is, look it up on Wikipedia or look it up on YouTube. It's a pretty cool game, and it'll give you more of a reference. Or better yet, just look up Rainbow Six Siege if you're going to go online and look at it anyway. It'll give you a little bit of a reference. Alright, so on to today's topic. Rainbow Six is now an esport, and now it actually has some DLC maps. So, what are we here to talk about? Well, I'm here to ask the question, if Rainbow Six can be an esport, and a MOBA can be an esport, what can't be an esport? Well, nothing. An esport has to do one thing, and that's entertain millions of viewers, which is actually really hard. Now, I personally do not own Rainbow Six, however, I have played it at my buddy's house, my friend's house, and I don't own Rainbow Six because I try not to fund the re-release of games. If you'd like to see a video on that, you can subscribe now and whatever. However, I have played it, and I have my complaints, but I do actually like the game. I think it's okay. I don't find it super fun, but apparently other people do. But again, that's not actually what it needs to do in this instance. What it needs to do is be entertaining to watch. And I watched my friend play Rainbow Six for a while, and I'm going to say I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching him break through doors and do all these tactical things. That was very entertaining. And the fact that the HUD is somewhat minimal and that's easy to follow, unlike League of Legends or maybe even Call of Duty, my experience showed me that no game is ever the same. Being able to see everything showed me. And I asked him about this. He said no games are really the same, however there are similar things. You do the same thing every time, but it plays out differently every time. So they are similar, but never the actual same. And that's where I think this game can thrive. If you can exploit that as a marketing point, you can really make a big empire out of this game. Another thing you have to consider is the fact that Rainbow Six is an actual franchise, which means it needs to be renewed. So how long will Siege last? When will Siege 2 come out? These are legitimate questions I have to ask about this game as an esport. Maybe Siege 2 will never come out, but Ubisoft will want to cash in on a new Rainbow Six game within the next 4 years, and I use that game because that's how long CSGO's been out. So, knowing that Ubisoft wants to make an esport, and knowing that Rainbow Six is a franchise, that means that Ubisoft thinks that making Rainbow Six into an esport will be more profitable than a new game. So we're going to do some math here, and I apologize if I screw up a few times. Rainbow Six debuted at 76,000 units in the UK. If it sold 50% less than the last week over week, since it launched, it would have sold around 151,701 copies. Now, that's not a big number. However, if we multiply that by 20, which is the number of countries that will have a meaningful impact on the game, we get the number 3,034,020. There's your sales number. A publisher takes 30% of the $60 that was paid for the game. So 30% of $60 times that number is $910,206 American dollars. But we still need to make one more transaction because Ubisoft is based in France, which means they use euros. So at the time of this video, $1 is equivalent to about 1.12 euros. So we can make an educated guess that Rainbow Six has made approximately 1,019,430 euros for Ubisoft. However, it does take money to make an esports juggernaut. So let's say it costs $500,000 to make an esports juggernaut before it starts making money. Then it will cost more than 1.5 million euros a year to make Rainbow Six an esport. Now, for comparison, Call of Duty is having a $3 million championship this year. That means Activision probably made double that in profits on the game alone, not counting everything else that goes into Call of Duty. Going off that logic, Rainbow Six first tournament will be 750,000 euros, give or take. Now, that is a lot of math, and I'll admit I probably screwed up at least once in there, so you guys are more than welcome to do the math yourself, even though I don't think you will. But if I didn't make a mistake, go down in the comments below and tell me, because I'm going to be honest, math is not my strong suit, and that is a lot of math, converting everything and doing all that kind of crazy stuff. So go ahead and check the math if you want to. I did not try to lie. There's no reason for me to lie right now. And if I did make a mistake, go ahead and post it down in the comments below. But moving on. Now that math is out of the way, we can talk about the Ubisoft versus the esports industry idea. Now, I would like to make 3 points here. Ubisoft has no esport game, which is point number 1, and they want to break into the industry. All right. If you don't have an esport game at this point in time, you're actually being left behind, because Activision has a big esport game. Blizzard has 2, almost 3 big esports in the spectrum, and Ubisoft wants to break in. EA will break in soon, I am sure. And Microsoft has one, which is in the form of Halo. You're being left behind at this point in time if you don't have one, because it's a way for your game to make more money than DLC after it actually releases. Now, Ubisoft obviously wants to cash in on this, and they're going to need to make a big impression. They're going to want to dominate the industry, which is point number 2. Ubisoft will want to dominate the industry, and that's what every publisher wants to do, to be completely honest. All right, everyone wants to corner the market and give all the money to them, because that's how the market works. Now, I don't think they can do this with just Rainbow Six. However, the success of Ubisoft's esports endeavor is relying on Rainbow Six, which is point number 3. It makes everything for Ubisoft and esports rides on how well Rainbow Six will do and how enjoyable it is to watch on Twitch, and if it's big enough to lay the groundwork for the future, whichever games they may be. With all these mandatory goals that need to be met, they have their work cut out for them, right? They need to make an impression, they need to make money, they need to break into the industry, and they need to be successful. And that's something that is really hard to do, and it's almost luck-based. It's almost a roll of the dice, to be completely honest. If you want to break into the industry, it's hard, because it costs a lot of money, and you need to make a lot of hype, and you need really good PR, you need a really good game, and it's a tough job. But however, I do think Ubisoft can do it. This is one of my questions going in here. I do think Ubisoft can break into the industry, because I enjoyed watching my friend play, and that's all I really need to base that off of. If it was fun for me to watch, I'm going to watch it. And if it's fun for other people to watch, they're going to watch it, especially if it's free, right? If you can just log on to Twitch and look up Rainbow Six and see that Ubisoft is streaming a tournament, you can watch that. And if it's fun, and if it's enjoyable, and if it's easy to watch, people will do that. All right? It's not rocket science. It is a science. It's not rocket science. It's almost an art form, actually. I don't think it will be instant. I think it will take time, but I think they can, and I think they can actually dethrone what Call of Duty is, which is the king of console esports. And the reason I think they can do that is because Rainbow Six will outlast Call of Duty. It's basically a fact at this point. Everyone knows that Call of Duty is dying. Sorry, I did that with my hands there. Everyone knows that Call of Duty is dying. All right, it doesn't matter what the sales number says. Call of Duty is dying, whether you like it or not. People are moving on, and people out there might not want to hear this, but people are moving on to. I'm moving on to Battlefield personally, but some people are moving on to MOBAs. Other people are moving on to CS:GO. Whatever they're doing, they're moving on from Call of Duty, and I think that's where Rainbow Six comes in. Is that it's a more tactical version of Call of Duty. All right, it is a tactical. It is more condensed, and it's faster. It's a little bit faster paced because it's so small and it's so tense. That's what people want in a game, and I think that's where Rainbow Six can exceed Call of Duty in the console esports market. So what other esports games from Ubisoft, what could they be? Now, I don't think you'll ever see some kind of Assassin's Creed MLG version of a Ubisoft game. None whatsoever. I do think you will see Ubisoft either buy some properties or create a new property and basically devote it to esports. Now, could that franchise be Rainbow Six? It's possible depending on how well it does later this year during esports season. Now, could it be something else? Maybe like Ghost Recon? It could be. Now, the reason I say it could be is because Recon Wildlands is coming out, which I'm actually super hyped for. But Recon Wildlands is actually coming out, and I think that it's moving more towards a community commercial based market than an esports based market. So I do think that Rainbow Six will be the esport game of choice for Ubisoft, or it is possible that Ubisoft will make a new franchise or buy a new franchise and make that their big esports juggernaut. Now, how will this affect the industry? I think you'll see Ubisoft be a little bit more aggressive in the esports industry, obviously, and I also think that you'll see Activision be a little bit more aggressive and try to keep the console-based esports industry cornered. Now, I think that if Ubisoft can kind of swoop in there and just kind of explode it from the inside, what you will see, now that there's no king of console esports, first-person shooter, division, whatever, you'll see a whole lot of indie games and a whole lot of things that just like throw to the wall and happen to stick on Kickstarter, flood the markets of the consoles, and or even some of them will even go to PC, as some of the bigger ones will. But you'll see a whole bunch of just random first-person shooters that have the smallest esports following. You'll see those people on the community markets, and not community markets, sorry, the console markets. And you're going to see a whole lot of people just run in and try and take that top spot no matter what they are, right? They're going to be the smallest esports, or not esports, sorry. They're going to be the smallest developer somewhere in Indonesia, and they're going to say, hey, we're going to make an esports game because Call of Duty isn't king anymore. And there's no king because Rainbow Six is so impressive and so good in the esports industry. There's no king anymore. There's nothing to compete, right? It's just those two battling out, and if we can sneak in behind them and be king, that'd be great because we're an esports industry. We're not esports. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're an indie developer, and we're gonna do it because we're ambitious and everything. That's what's gonna happen. And sorry if I confused you with my words there. I mixed up indie and esports. But that's what you'll see, all right? You'll see something like that. And if Rainbow Six does not implode Call of Duty, basically, what you'll see is even less people try to get into the console esports market because they'll see that it's a waste of time. To be completely honest, if Rainbow Six can't do it, I don't have any faith in anybody else doing it. And you know, if I make a video in the future saying the opposite, you guys can reference this video and tell me, because I believe at this point in time especially that if Rainbow Six can't do it, no one can. Maybe that will change. All right, maybe EA will come out with like a super competitive Battlefield or something. But I think that if Rainbow Six can't do it, and at the end of the video, I'd like to ask you guys to like and subscribe because I post videos like this twice a week, and the best way to see them is subscribing. So press that button right down there, and I'll see you guys in the next video.